Hello, folks. The old deplorable basket case here. You can probably see I got a bit of a different background now. Been building a recording studio, moved furniture around, and rearranged my house. Anyway, so a person commented on an earlier video, capitalism versus slavery. It was a response video to someone else. This person writes to me, "You speak about the options of the people in a corporation versus slaves and serfs." I just want to stop that. Just want to get this out of the way. Hopefully I can get this out of the way and not be breaking up things later on. Spelling and punctuation matter. Dudette, person. Apostrophes change the word they are a part of. It's not that you're spelling words wrong, it's that you are writing different words from what you're trying to say. So, I strongly advise you to learn how to not to do that, because it can lead to some really bad misunderstandings in life. You say, a slave can't quit, a serf can't quit, but they can quit. Quitting implies that you have the right to just leave your job if you want to. Running away and risking being brought back and horribly punished is not quitting. Many slaves ran away knowing very well that if they were caught they would die. It is not that they can't quit, period, is that they can't if they want a higher chance of continuing to live. Okay, dudette, person. That is exactly the kind of thing that an insane far-right libertarian would say. In fact, insane far-right libertarians have said exactly that. It could also be said of the person in the corporation that they can't quit if they want a higher chance of financial stability. I really sincerely hope that this is just something that you wrote very quickly without thinking about it. I really sincerely hope that you are capable of telling the difference between a risk of financial instability versus running away from your slave master and having the entire full force of the law bent on catching you, bringing you back to your master to be horribly punished or even killed. I really hope that you do see the difference between those two things, because they are very different. And not being able to quit because of risk of financial instability, that is such a subjective thing. If you're a slave and you succeed in running away, you're free. That is an objective difference. If you're a worker and you have the option of quitting, and you can quit when you want to. You can choose when to quit. You can choose what other jobs you want to look for. You can choose not to quit until after you have another job lined up. Big difference. It's important. And it's a real life difference. It's not some subjective difference thought up by someone in some ivory tower. I'm not living in an ivory tower here. I'm not dreaming up these differences to make an argument about. These are real things. The difference between the slave and the person is where their priorities lie, spelling on a hierarchy of needs. It is obvious slavery and working for a corporation are not equivalent. Thank you. However, it would be naive of us to ignore the large disparity between the impact corporations have on the livelihoods of their employees and the impact employees have on a corporation. It would be much more naive of us to ignore the fact that that is an incredibly subjective thing to say, and it depends entirely on the corporation, the industry, and the employees. There are some corporations in some industries that, yes, do have, in some places at least, that do have a disparate amount of power over their employees. If you want to talk about something specific, I'm perfectly willing to talk about something specific, but this is not something that can actually be debated. The very most that can be said about it is that it is hyperbole. It's not something that I can debate. It's not something that anyone could debate or talk to or about. It has no meaning in and of itself. Moving on. As it relates to the ruling class, many would argue that the ruling class is not the elected, but those who finance the campaigns of the elected. Well, okay, fair enough. You could definitely make that argument. There are a lot of people who are elected who run their campaigns not being financed by any kind of rich elite. Bernie Sanders has ran a campaign very well. I approve of the way Bernie Sanders ran his campaign. Donald Trump did likewise. He financed his own campaign, and he received donations from ordinary people. He did not receive any donations from huge corporations, or from a very few number of relatively small corporations compared to, say, let's say Hillary Clinton. Apostrophes are important. I'll assume that you're familiar with the whole money in politics thing. Okay, I am aware that money is a big deal in politics. I am aware that people with large amounts of money can influence politics. Beyond that, the whole money in politics thing is another thing. What are you talking about specifically? Please make something I can talk to. And it's corrupting influence, and so I won't, apostrophes, go into that. These big money financiers are rarely ordinary people, and they also rarely support policy that will help the general society instead of themselves. That is an argument you could make. Another argument could be made that there are some individual people who are big money financiers who really do have more in their lives than just being big money financiers, who have families and hopes and dreams. Some of whom might be patriots, some of whom might feel that they really do want to help out their fellow human beings. Individual people matter, which is what I said in my original video. You quoted the social mobility of those at the bottom. I would love to know if you have a statistic on the movement from the top. I did a little research, and it's actually a little hard to find data on social mobility of people from the top. People tend to focus a lot more on social mobility from the bottom for what I feel are obvious reasons. Let me see. I have here it is. Income mobility and tax unit income by initial income. This is a paper from federalreserve.gov. I'll try to make sure there's a link in the comments below. The highest income bracket that they have here has just as much income mobility in some ways more income mobility than people in any other tax bracket. In fact, people in the highest income bracket are much more likely to see a decline in income than any other tax bracket. And in some categories of decline, more than twice as likely to face a decline. So there's that. So it's a very technical paper. I'll give you a link to it. If anyone seeing this, I suggest you could go and read it. It's very interesting. It has some very what I feel is important data for people to see, to know about. I'd hypothesize that there is very little who move from the top back to the middle or to the bottom, and because of this creates an alternate dynasty or the ruling class who perpetually influence politicians via their contributions. Some politicians are very easy to influence. Some politicians are not. Some people are very likely to try to influence politicians. Some people are not. Some political systems are very easy, make it very easy to influence politicians. Some political systems do not. it's a very subjective thing. Are there rich families who try very hard to influence politics in the United States of America? Yes, there are. Are there more in the USA than in any other country? I doubt it. But that is exactly what... Okay, I don't want to lecture here, but that is exactly what Donald Trump was talking about when he said he was going to drain the swamp. Because there are these people, these corporations, these families who do have undue influence in the U.S. government, and it's an ongoing fight for our liberty. This is a thing that it's not a party issue. It's an issue between people who want honest politics and honest politicians, honest politics, and people who don't. And sometimes one party will be on the side of one, and the other party will be on the side of the other, and sometimes they'll switch. And sometimes both parties will be on one side, and sometimes both parties will be on the other. So thank you for commenting. I do appreciate the feedback. I would appreciate a better spelled feedback a little more. It's painful. I'm a writer. I'm an editor. I deal with words professionally. I feel very strongly about this. I'm sorry. I do realize that this is not how most people would react. But it is painful for me. And I tell you again, for your own benefit, this is the kind of thing that can lead to misunderstandings. This is the kind of thing that can lead to mistakes that could be bad mistakes. Again, thank you. I appreciate the I always appreciate comments. I appreciate feedback. I appreciate people challenging me, because I do need to be challenged to be a better person. And I sincerely hope that this was a hurried challenge. I sincerely hope that you do understand the difference between the entire force of law being leveled on someone to punish them or even kill them, and the possibility of financial instability. I sincerely hope that is something that once you think about, you really do understand. Because if you don't, then you should. And everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. And good night and God bless.